we're going to move into Wednesday's training script. This is on connecting students' prior knowledge and cultural and personal experiences to your subject area. Here we have the objectives, as we always start, and a reminder of the procedures that they'll deal with: foundational knowledge, instructional strategies, and then time to work and apply those strategies. They're going to work with their Cape Coast partner here, and they're going to think about all of what they know about prior knowledge. So they're going to just jot this down on their chart. There should be one as a handout, and so they're going to write down all the things that they know here. And then they're going to write down anything that they want to find out about prior knowledge. They're going to leave this one till the end. So they're going to work on those two. And then we move into an article. This is an article, again, that was in your pre-reading piece, but you have it. And I, again, would suggest that they do read this one, because the activity we have is built in for this. So in your training script, what it says is they're going to be reading this article. It's very short: building and activating background knowledge. And the directions are that number one is going to read it aloud, while the number two person, so there's two of us doing this. I'm a one, you're a two. I read it, you're going to read along with me, and when I'm done reading my section, you're going to summarize what I read aloud. Then we're going to switch roles. You're going to read the direct and indirect background knowledge while I read along silently, and then that's a typo in your script, one will summarize what was read, and we're going to go back and forth with the different sections of that article. Then they're going to do a think, pair, share. Comprehension strategists cannot compensate for missing background knowledge. Oops, sorry. And so they're going to talk about that and share out what that means. Then we move into the lesson plan format. And a typical way that we have done instruction in the past is that we give a reading assignment, and then the students read that by themselves, and then we discuss it as a whole class. What we're saying that you do differently is that you do a lot of pre-reading activities, discuss it, do predictions, think about what questions you're going to have, such as we just did in the KWL chart. What questions, brainstorm, set purpose. All of that, now that I have built up that notion, I can now read my text. And that example that we just did was an active, a guided active reading strategy instead of just reading it alone by myself. And then when we're done reading, all you're doing now is kind of clarifying, reinforcing, and extending that knowledge to something. So it really is spending much more time front-loading the information. When we look at the lesson plan template and we looked at those procedures, you'll see how these procedures fit right along with this strategy. Okay, now we're talking about why it is important. And you have those two bullets: when it's important, and now how do you do it? So you start with what students know, not what they don't know. Direct versus indirect experiences, recognizing that connections can be made in advance, and then so what I'm going to have you do is have the people stand up with their Mole National Park partner and discuss the way in which they have recently developed or activated their students' prior knowledge. So this is just kind of giving them more things to think about and talk about when they meet up with their Mole National Park person. Then the next strategy they're going to do is the show what you know. So they're going to draw and label an illustration. Remember, we just talked about non-linguistic and how that helps kids learn. So you have this chart in your handout. And so what they're going to do is think about prior knowledge and draw pictures of what students and you need to do for what activates prior knowledge, whatever they think will help represent prior knowledge. And here goes the words on that side. So it just is a way for them to think about it again in another way. Prayers model is another strategy for helping activate students' prior knowledge. Here a term can go in. They think about what do they already know about it, what facts, examples, and non-examples. This can also be saved and used throughout a lesson so that it becomes a pre-strategy of what do they already know, and then they keep adding to those sections as they learn more things. Here's an example of perimeter. for mathematics. And here's an example for science, for physical change. Another strategy that we're going to work with them on is concept maps. And it's a visual way to help activate their prior knowledge, but also for them to think about connections to concepts and terms. And again, it's higher order thinking skills. So here's one that, here's seasons, and they're determined by the amount of sunlight, and see how everything makes these connections. Here's another one, and this is on parallelograms and how everything is connected. So what we're going to have them do now is go with their Bolte Falls partner, and they're going to create a concept map regarding activating and building background knowledge. So again, this will take 5 to 10 minutes depending. You just keep track of what your folks are doing and how they're doing. Then you're going to have them pause again and write down those 3 strategies we just did, describe them. And then the next strategy we're going to do is anticipation guides. There's a number of those activities in your handout. And again, here we're telling them about, oops, sheesh. Sorry, don't know why this is happening. Activate students' prior knowledge, build curiosity about the topic, and set purpose for reading. For the teacher, you can read this piece, and it also could be used during reading, listening, or viewing. So they start, once they fill it out to begin with, and then as they're reading, they start thinking about what was true, what they need to reject, and what they need to modify. So then you can show them all the examples in their handout, and then the closure for this section is to go back to the next section now is to go to the KWL, and now they're going to fill in what did you learn. So based upon this is what I know, this is what I want to find out, now looking at all that information that you just shared with them, what do they know? Then they're going to pause, write those 2 things in their chart, and then closure for this is they're going to take an index card that they have on their table, and they're going to write down the key ideas from the teaching practices and why they were important. And again, this is your way of checking in to see how well did they take away the information that you shared with them. So that's what completes day 3.